Good evening. I'd like to call the Development Review Board to order, September 20th, 2016. What do you got, Dan?
Okay, our first item on the agenda this evening is minutes from our last meeting.
Any changes, additions? Any motion? Charles?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Barry seconds. All in favor? Okay.
We ask everyone that speaks to the board this evening to sign in. It's right over there on the podium, and that sign-up sheet includes the following oath statement. I solemnly swear or affirm under the pains and penalty of perjury that the statements I make, testimony I give, and other evidence I submit to the board at the board's public hearing held on this date shall be true and correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. And again, we just ask anyone who speaks this evening to sign in. Next item is disclosure of any ex parte communications or conflicts of interest regarding the matter before the board this evening.
Anybody have any?
Seeing none?
Don't see any.
Okay. We have one hearing tonight. It's Bennington Subaru at 527 North Bennington Road. These folks are seeking development plan approval and design plan approval for a new car dealership on that property. Of course, you know there is an existing dealership there already. This will replace that dealership. And I see that their architect and engineer are here this evening. So if you folks want to step up, introduce yourselves, and let us know what the plans are, we'd appreciate it.
What's the best place for me here, Dan?
You can stand anywhere you want.
Okay.
A lot of people like to stand behind the podium, but if you want to stand up in front, that's...
I guess in an effort to have access to the plans and point a little bit, I'll stay here. For the record, my name is Jeff Bolesky. We will consulting engineers here on behalf of the owner and applicant. I also have the building architect, Mark Stewart, here. Mark Stewart Architects, well representing the client. I guess I'll just open up with a really brief overview of the existing condition site plan, proposed condition site plan, so you have a feel for what we're really proposing out there, and maybe let Mark touch briefly on the new building design a little bit. We have the site plans, the building profiles, as well as a few renderings here to help paint the picture a little bit. Feel free to chime in at any point, certainly if anybody's got any questions, obviously. As I'm sure most of you are familiar with the site, the existing Bennington Subaru car dealership on North Bennington Road. The existing condition site plan shown here has an existing little over 12,000 square foot building that serves as both a car dealership and service and repair location. The property is access to a curb cut on Bennington Plaza directly off of Bennington Road. And the parking and the inventory for the site is really located both on the north, the south, as well as the frontage of the building. Currently, this is all paved along the predominantly three sides of the building for the parking. There's also some additional gravel out back for overflow parking. And the remaining portion of the site is really one big open field back here that kind of goes up the slope away from North Bennington Road, if you can envision it from the contours. The site currently is served by municipal water and sewer services. We'll be looking to, as I'll show you on the proposed site plan, retain those and relocate and upgrade them. There's really no expansion in namesake or employees or anything like that. It's just really just a straight redevelopment, so to speak, with the primary function of creating a better facility to serve the customers, while at the same time providing significant more parking to allow them to increase their inventory. So with that, I'll flip over to the overall proposed site plan. 2 shots, I believe. If anybody wants to follow along on the half set, this will be C 2.0 in the plan set that was submitted. And this has just a little bit of everything on it. So as you can see here, there's a new proposed building which is slightly larger at 14,400 square feet approximately we're proposing, and kind of hard to see, but there's a dashed dotted line here that represents the footprint of the existing building. So the new building will get located directly to the north of the existing building. As far as a relocation of parking, obviously in an attempt to comply with the zoning ordinance of not having any parking in front of the proposed building as opposed to how it currently functions now, we're shifting all the parking to the sides and then predominantly a lot of expansion in the rear up into that field for inventory, excess inventory parking. The property will still be serviced with the same exact curb cut. We're not really proposing any changes to that. So vehicles now come in and they'll really given two options with some signage to indicate that. But as you come in, to the left will be the service area and service parking. And then you'll have a drive around the front, and this would be the predominant customer parking area for people looking to purchase new vehicles. And then everything kind of to the south and to these new rear parking plateau terrace areas will be for the inventory with employees, probably predominantly in the back here. I think there is a summary of the parking spaces here in the bottom left if there's any interest in knowing what the kind of the breakdown is. I believe the proposed layout kind of complies fully with the dimensional zoning requirements. There is kind of a little chart here as far as minimum setbacks and coverages and things of that nature, kind of summarized here, both required, existing, proposed, and I don't believe we're requesting any waivers or deviations from that. Really the big construction effort is twofold, the new building obviously, but the second is making use of this back field here. And I can go to the grading plan in a minute if you'd like, but what we're really proposing, understanding this slope goes up and away, is you'd have kind of two terrace parking areas. You'd come up the little incline here, this would be one terrace, and then you come up a little further, and there'd be a second terrace for the additional inventory parking. Regarding utilities, again, still be municipal. We pick up our existing sewer service stub here and extend it and connect the new building more or less tying into the existing sewer service that goes out to Bennington Road. The existing water service, because it's too small to serve the new facility, as we'll be sprinklering the new building as opposed to the existing building which is not sprinklered, we'll be cutting and capping the existing municipal water service and tying in a new larger line to serve both the domestic and fire suppression needs of the proposed building, again with a full sprinkler system in to comply with fire requirements. One last comment with regards to pedestrian access to the building. The site currently does not have any type of roadway or a right-of-way sidewalk along North Bennington Road here. Dan was helpful in alerting us early on in this process. That's certainly a goal of this planned commercial zoning district here, is an attempt to any new development or redevelopment kind of continue that connectivity. As such, we are proposing essentially a whole new standard 5-foot wide concrete sidewalk along the right-of-way of North Bennington Road here. We more or less along the frontage. You can envision it, North Bennington Road's here. We have the 279 overpass right here. I believe there is a banking facility on the same side of the road on the opposite side of that, which extended a sidewalk to the end of their property limits. We're kind of proposing doing the same thing. So starting here at more or less the frontage, running along the North Bennington Road, and actually extending it across Bennington Plaza, and then tying into where it was last truncated in front of I believe it's China Walk, the Chinese restaurant. It was truncated there as part of the it was a Home Depot. I apologize, I'm not too familiar with the area. But development, with that facility, it was truncated here. So trying to do our part in extending across the Bennington Plaza right away and along our frontage to foster that additional pedestrian access. And we'd obviously have some access from that sidewalk into our kind of plaza front entrance area, as well as some additional sidewalk to allow clients or potential customers, as well as employees, access up to the rear parking areas there. Also a very significant landscaping plan here. There's a full landscaping plan, including the plan sets here, but we've got large deciduous trees and bushes along the frontage per the zoning requirements, as well as median grass islands with a variety of shrubs and bushes and plantings, both in the main parking lot here, as well as in between and surrounding the upper parking lot. So we've certainly tried to make a good effort to have the site look aesthetically pleasing from both the North Bennington right-of-way as well as Bennington Plaza. In addition to that, we also have a kind of commercial ornamental fence that runs the majority of the frontage between the parking areas and building and the road right-of-way. I think that's it in a nutshell. I'm certainly happy to turn it over to the board and wait for any questions and answer to the best of our ability.
Yeah, one question. Seems to be a slight discrepancy, probably a typo, but on your written proposal, it says the 1,000-gallon propane tank is underground, and the site plan on C1.0 it says above ground.
So 1.0 may be an existing propane tank, which I believe is above ground on site out back. We'll be eliminating that completely, and as part of the proposed building, constructing a new underground tank out behind the building.
Oh, that's gonna, the other one's gonna be a different place.
Yeah, the existing one, I believe, it's kind of hard to see, but if I can go to the existing plan if you like, I think it's directly behind the building right here. And that would all get eliminated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, get eliminated, removed.
Oh, okay, I gotta pick up on that first.
Yeah, as part of the demo, and then you want to go back.
Very good.
Just briefly, while I'm thinking about it too, there is an interest in kind of phasing this construction to allow the existing facility to remain open as long as possible, while they at least get the building foundation and new building going, which is why there's no overlap between the proposed and existing building. So just you can see the existing building being here where my hand is. The hope or thought is that we'd start doing the construction work for this proposed building while this stays somewhat operational with access along the front. This would be kind of the construction area, and access would still be to the existing building along the front, and this would still be used. So the building would be constructed, hopefully the new building, assuming permitting goes well, or starting late fall through the winter, and then all the site work would be done next summer. It's kind of the concept if everything plays out accordingly.
One more thing on that, is your fill pipe going to be protected by bollards or something?
It will be. We've got a proposed light pole right in front of this, the existing underground tank, with the detail for light poles actually has a 3-foot tall concrete kind of pyramidal base, which kind of serves as a protection for the underground tank for that. Certainly if the vendor or manufacturer feels we need additional bollard on either side, we're happy to.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else have questions?
I just have a very quick one. The south side of the sidewalk will meet with the existing sidewalk that is traveling north. So,
You're talking about here?
yeah, so underneath the highway, there will be sidewalk the entire way.
So we are not proposing that. There's certainly, I think, obviously 279 is a big double bypass. I think there's a couple hundred feet there. There's foot traffic path there along that curb where it gets used. We're not proposing extending that all the way across. In an attempt to do the best we can. Originally, our suggestion, our request was to just do the frontage of the property here, thinking that's kind of what we'd be, for lack of a better term, on the hook for, so to speak, as a public improvement in conjunction with the project. And in our conversations with Dan and the town, we try to go above and beyond to address this Bennington Plaza intersection and then go another 100 or 150 feet north to tie in at least at one point. But we are not proposing the additional couple hundred feet to tie into the bank facility at this time. And maybe something potentially, I know that right away is AOT controlled, I believe. Maybe they could look into connecting those dots with the town. I'm not sure how that works, but we are not proposing that.
Is the state lit property fenced off? Or is that
This property here? This
no, where you were just speaking, 279.
is it fenced off?
Is it blocked or can they travel through there?
No, yeah, the foot traffic can. There's actually a little 2-foot wide gravel path there you can see from foot traffic right along the curbing, on the backside of curbing, pretty much along the whole way. Unfortunately, we are proposing the sidewalk kind of up against the curb because I can go to the grading plan. Right now, they're more or less 5 to 6 feet beyond the curb. It drops off pretty significantly all along the frontage, or at least this portion of the frontage of the existing facility. There's kind of a little wet detention area pond here that serves the existing parking lot. So really, there's no other place horizontally to locate this sidewalk other than up against the road right now. There is a fence along this property line that continues and then ties into the bridge here, but there certainly is pedestrian access underneath.
Okay, that's what I'm curious. There was a section that can get people peeking through.
There is, yes.
Jeff, I have a question on that propane thing. Is there a curb in front of it?
No, there's no curbing in front of that.
Maybe you consider putting a couple ballots on either side of the light pole just to protect it.
Sure, yeah, that's certainly not a problem.
Any other questions on this part? I guess that's it on this drawing.
Sorry?
I guess that's it on this drawing if you want to go into something else.
Okay. Yeah, I'm happy to show you the grading plan or landscaping. If there's any all included in the plans that you got here. The grading plan might be helpful just to kind of see the concept of there is some terrain out back. Certainly this size and level of development is going to require us to get both state stormwater construction.
Jeff, what drawing is that?
So this will be C 2.2, which is the proposed grading plan and grading and drainage site plan. So this amount of impervious requires both a state stormwater construction permit as well as a discharge and operational permit. We haven't finalized those applications yet. We're pretty close to there, and very comfortable with the fact that the site layout and grading design will work. Pretty much what it boils down to, because there's a significant amount of existing impervious here, that's all just really going to be considered redevelopment, and we only need to treat 20% of that runoff, so to speak, to comply with the regulations, but we certainly need to treat 100% of anything new that we're proposing. And, you know, obviously the back parking lots here representing the predominant amount of new impervious on the site. So what we're really, this concept here is this whole lower level will still be pretty flat. Everything's more or less at 2%. There's really no severe grades. The building would be set up a little higher than the existing just to get pitch away from it. But everything right now drains to the front. That will continue to do so. We're just grading the back of this existing parking area to the back a little bit in order to collect and treat it to meet that 20% requirement. And then the back parking lots here, again, you can see the grading contours. You know, we're going up 6 or 7 feet in the first section to get to the first plateau, and then another 6 or 7 feet to get to the second. So these terraced parking areas will be 6 or 7 feet above each other, so up 6, 7, up 6, 7. We really are just going to be, they all sheet flow down into some infiltration grass swales with some filter media underneath them to try to get as much infiltration as we can. And then they run down into a collection system, into a kind of a traditional stormwater treatment pond that has a 4-bay treatment area. So this would kind of be a permanent wet pond for the most part, would fluctuate with elevation a little bit. That ultimately then discharges down into this existing pond here that already treats a lot of this existing parking lot. So that's kind of the grading concept and the stormwater design. And again, we haven't gotten a permit from A&R yet on that, but we're confident we can meet the design standards from that standpoint. Any questions on the grading or drainage?
I have one. Have you considered putting some kind of a grate across the bottom of that road going up to catch any runoff that's coming down that long road from going into your parking lot?
You can type up here?
Yeah, right at the bottom. Put a drainage thing, you know, in the road.
Oh, like a French drain or something, or
Yeah.
to catch it?
To catch
Yeah,
it.
I mean, so we've got the road crowned a little bit, and we've got stone line swale on, I'm sorry, not crowned, just pitched this way. We have a stone line swale that feeds the catch basin, and then another stone line swale. So everything we're trying to not to direct it down the hill, we're trying to get it off the side, and then that gets collected and then discharges directly into the 4-bay. Anything on this side ultimately gets into a catch basin here that also discharges to the 4-bay. That's kind of
I just didn't know that you thought of that, just so it won't run out into the main parking lot.
Yeah. This will kind of be we wanted to leave this as a plateau. To, you know, obviously we're going up a little bit of a slope here, so everything more or less here still drains away in this direction. So we don't. This isn't really an opportunity for pond and water or anything.
Thank you.
Is that okay?
Okay, got another one?
I mean, it's completely up to the board if there's any specific questions. The next is the landscaping plan, which again has a summary in the bottom left explaining all the locations and sizes of the proposed plantings that we're showing on site here. And I believe, you know, Dan's taken a look at this and verified that the amount and spacing and coverage is kind of satisfied per the zoning regulation. It's certainly quite a few plantings we're proposing out there. I'm not sure, maybe 150 in total. So it's certainly pretty significant. And we've done our best to kind of break up the big parking areas with some medians and brushes and trees to attempt to satisfy that component. So. The C2.4 sheet is really just was only really necessary because based on the overall plan of the site, we couldn't get the connection detail in here of how we were going to tie into the existing sidewalk that truncates in front of the China Walk restaurant. So this sheet is really just to clarify that section and call out some of the requirements that are required by AOT with the sidewalk. We have contacted AOT. They were provided this plan a couple weeks ago. We're still waiting to hear back from a comment on them, but certainly a AOT work permit will be necessary, not only for the sidewalk work but also the utility connections. So one way or another, they'll be satisfied, and a permit will be applied from them before we start construction on any of this work.
I have a question I forgot to ask you.
Yeah.
Along the front, where all the trees are, you have a chain link fence in there.
It's not chain link. It's there's actually a cut sheet provided in the application. It's kind of a black metal ornamental fence. So it's not really for screening per se. It's a visual barrier. Yeah, it's kind of a visual breakup barrier. Maybe I'm happy to pull my copy if anybody. Yeah, it kind of.
Well, underneath there's another view of it. Yeah, the next second board down. I don't know if that shows.
Yeah, here's a good representation as far as the frontage is concerned. The tree spacing, some shrubs, but kind of just a black ornamental fence in between to kind of separate distinguish the spaces a little bit.
So I assume that they're not going to park cars on the grass anymore.
No, there'll be no cars in park grass or anything along the frontage of the building, with the one exemption that we've kind of highlighted both in the narrative and the plan is that we would like the opportunity to just display a couple vehicles in the frontage there within this concrete plaza area. It's obviously a car dealership. They're trying to sell cars, and they'd like their inventory to be seen a little bit. I think consistent with other car dealerships that have been developed in the last few years here, we're just requesting the opportunity to have a couple vehicles on display out front of the proposed building.
That's 25 feet, that front plaza?
Yes, at its maximum, it's 25 feet, correct, yep.
Ron?
Yeah, there'll be no cars parked in the driveway, will there?
No, I believe this is only 24 feet wide,
Yeah.
so it accommodates the
Had
other
that
two.
problem before with the
Yep.
other ships, okay.
And you'll have, just to clarify, this whole frontage of sidewalk is all curved, and then you've got the fence on the backside here, so you really, the cars going in and out, yeah.
We actually pulled that fence back
Yeah,
to the curves to avoid people displaying. We can't control sometimes what happens out there. So we actually pulled the fence back to eliminate the opportunity for anybody to park on the grass.
Yeah.
Because originally the fence was out away from the curb a bit.
And there'd also be, right now, I believe the existing parking lot, as you can see, maybe even encroaches into the right-of-way a foot or two. The parking is pretty extended out to the front. We're gonna have a very significant green belt now, of just lawn, kind of between the plantings and fence and the right-of-way. So I think we're making a substantial improvement from that standpoint.
Any more questions on the site plan, or should we go to the building elevation? Building, okay. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, no problem. I'll hand this over to Mark. Within our application package we submitted, the very last sheet should be the proposed building profiles. And then obviously there's a few renderings here for you to look at.
As far as the building goes, we're relatively limited in materials and signage as far as what we can use. It's dictated by Subaru. And we are looking at a building that's about just under 15,000 square feet, one story. It'll be a steel frame building. The front, which I consider the three sides closest to the road, will be an aluminum ACM panel, aluminum composite, which will be a silver panel. This will be, the glass will consist of aluminum storefront silver frames with a clear glazing. We've got some slate added, which is a Subaru accent, with the tower along with a band along the base of the building, which was something that we had talked about with Dan. The rear of the building, which is service, consists of a 3-inch insulated sandwich panel, which will be again a gray on the outside, it'll be a white on the inside, highly energy efficient. Roof will be a membrane roof with rigid insulation. This thing will essentially heat with a matchstick. They're very, very efficient buildings. The biggest reason for doing this, first of all, we did look at renovating the existing dealership And it just wasn't, the further we dug into it, it just wasn't worth it. It was something that we just felt, the loss of business, the loss of time, the attempt to we're gonna spend as much renovating as we are constructing new buildings. So we decided to basically, locate a new building just to the north, or to the left, as you see the intersection of the existing building sits approximately in here, about 10 feet to the north of it. We can basically fence this off, construct the new building while the existing building's in operation. Once this is habitable, we'll move everybody in, we'll get rid of this thing. As Jeff said, do the site work next year in the spring, summer. We have added some amenities for customers that don't exist, which is kind of nice. Service right-up drive, where they can actually look at your vehicle. Right way is it? You can flip it out.
I don't have.
I don't need it, I can just go on about it. We've added a new service right-up lane so that you can enter in, there's room for 3 vehicles to pull in, get looked at by the right-up techs, and then the vehicles are taken out of the building park. The customer can either go into the lounge or get picked up. It's just a friendlier atmosphere. There's a new customer lounge, kitchenette, bathrooms. It's just a nicer atmosphere, bright, airy showroom, and then again, just a better, cleaner, more efficient service area. All around it, it makes for a better facility. And it doesn't hurt that Subaru obviously kicks in a little bit of cash in the end with some EVE, which is essential brand elements money. So, existing signage, we'll keep the existing pylon sign here. There will be some new signs on the building. The Subaru, the Bennington letter set. We've got the Subaru badge. And then around the side, there'll be service and parts, but that'll be it. Those are illuminated signs on the front of the building, these 3, but only while the facility's open.
Not internally illuminated, right?
These are internally illuminated.
Yep, that's okay. That's okay in that district.
And that is just,
Yep.
okay, sorry about that. On district.
Mark, could you just talk about I guess it's the soffit detail, whatever that you added?
Talking about the parapet?
Yeah, the parapet detail.
Well, the parapet, certainly the Subaru trademark is the blue band. So along with the ACM panels, there's an integral ACM cap that will go on the top of this parapet, and it will integrate the blue band as well as having the silver strip at the top. And it will actually accentuate, where's that detail, off the facade, providing a little bit of relief. It's not just going to go up and die. The ACM will come up and then kind of kick out at the top and add a little bit of relief, a little detail at the top of the parapet. So.
How about the utility, your AC or HVAC?
There will be rooftop units.
You're going to be covered.
Probably do a fence or a small blind around it.
Well, I guess it won't be visible from the road.
No.
It'll be visible prior to 279, right?
Yes. You'll see the back of them 270. We can't cover the top of them because of warranty. Yeah, we can close them, but we can't cap them. But the service area here, that'll be actually waste oil heaters, which are it doesn't cost anything to heat it. We'll have some LP backup. The rooftops will be LP. We'll have air conditioning, heating via those. This patio, this concrete patio will be heated. We've learned that over the course of doing these, this is about our 6th one, that it doesn't pay to try to chip snow and ice off those, heat them. It's just the way to do it. Because this ACM panel is it's susceptible to damage. It's a really clean, flush metal panel, and anytime you get tire salesmen anywhere near with shovels or axes, things. Certainly, Dan, this little detail will help. The slate. So. But
Mark, I have a couple things.
sure.
I would like to see you label these elevations that are front, rear, so forth, north, south, east, and west, so we can figure where they are on the other drawings.
Okay, well,
Do you know what I'm saying?
well, I can tell you the north office on the bottom.
Yeah, that would be the north view.
Yeah.
But
South.
if you label them that way on.
I can relabel it if you wish.
Yes. The other thing is we need a graphic scale on there. I tried to scale something off and I couldn't do it.
Oh, on that, yes,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
The others were all done.
My bad.
Yeah, okay.
I think Dan asked for that. Twice.
That's the only thing I had. I
Okay.
thought you just, because I had to sort of figure out which is which here, if you doing the
I
directions.
apologize on that.
Any other questions? What's the board's
What was the
pleasure?
overall color again of the building?
The Subaru tradition is a silver metallic. It's just a silver panel. I don't know what it is.
Is it a little shiny?
It's matte. It's not glossy.
Yeah.
Won't be reflective?
No, no, it doesn't have a mirror finish or anything like that. But it's a pretty nice panel. I mean, it's not a dingy panel.
Essentially the same as in Brunswick, New York. Carbone. Carbone.
Brunswick, is anyone in Troy?
Troy, yeah.
Yeah. Very similar. Same.
Yes, it is Troy.
Anything else?
It is Troy, isn't it?
I think so.
You have anything else, guys? Any motion, what would you like to do? Continue? Preliminary approval?
I'll make a motion to give preliminary approval.
What's that?
I'll make a motion to give preliminary approval.
Okay,
Second.
Dan seconds it. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Thanks, guys. So probably be a pretty quick meeting next time, but I think you're the only thing on the agenda, so don't be late because you might miss it. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anything else, Dan?
I don't have any other business this evening.
Do you have anything? Need a motion to adjourn? No motion? Oh,
Barry?
Barry moves. Bill seconds. All in favor?
I'm opposed.
Opposed, everything.
You can sit right here.
I'll sit here.